I will start with a little confession. My name is Felipe, and I play video games. Now, following traditional AA standard, you have to say, "Hi, Felipe." Yeah, that's true. So the thing is, I like video games, and I believe video games are going to be the main forum of cultural exchange in the 21st century. And it's one of the fastest growing industries in the world, is engaging more and more people, and is increasingly involving areas like heritage into its portfolio. And one of those kind of games that actually rely heavily on heritage, traditions, and more deep culturally rooted, activities are strategy video games. So that's why we are here with Vasilis today. And the first thing I want to know about you is who are you, very briefly, in like 15 seconds, but also how being that brought you to imagine something like a hero icon.
Yes. I'm a visual artist. I play games from really young, especially strategy games, from board games to internet games to console games to all kinds of games. We started doing this because my co-founder, my friend, had this idea, and which I met by playing a game, actually. And he had the idea of...
How you met him playing games?
He was an adversary in the game we were playing. It was an online strategy game, more or less something like we are doing now. And he was an adversary. His group was much better than ours. And after we finished playing, it just happened when we met each other. So he had this weird idea on why don't we try doing something like that. It was, in the beginning, I didn't really took it seriously. It was more like fun conversation over a beer. And while really thinking on this and really progressing with the idea, we just realized that we can do it. And after that, it was like, how didn't we think about it before?
Well, that usually happens. I mean, when you are playing strategy games, you very often are defeated by somebody that comes out with a very simple idea on where to position something, and then you say, how on earth I didn't thought about that before? But that's precisely what comes out of iterations. So can you tell me a little bit about how those iterations have been working in improving and making the game better and better and more like, user-friendly?
You mean on what actually we have to give to the gaming, you mean?
Exactly.
That's what you're asking. Well, we are not doing a virgin birth here. The platform is there. We are actually expanding it, in my opinion at least. And we are making a game as players would have liked it to be. So in that aspect, I hope we're doing a good job. I don't know. I mean, we will launch the game on December, and we'll see how the public reacts on it.
Okay. I see that the game comes with very nice images. I guess your background as a visual artist has a lot to do with it.
Yes. We decided to try to work to make it more painting-like rather than doing 3D graphics or normal computer graphics, very stylized. So, in a sense, we had to enclose as much as we could to narrow the aspect, because it's not painting. So it could be user-friendly and it could apply to big audience. But I think we've done something different than most of the games.
Okay, and tell us a little bit, I need you like. Tell us a little bit, I mean, every strategy game is about winning, right?
Yeah.
But what is different, or, I mean, what is this winning about? I mean, what's your purpose here? What do you get into the game?
You mean me personally? I mean, as creators.
What would the player get? I mean, what is competing for?
Well, the game has a narration, a very specific one. It has a historical backdrop of, let's say, ancient times, like from pre-Hellenistic era up until zero, let's say the birth of Christ. It's basically Mediterranean world, and everything is based on that except from the map, because the game demands an abstract map, so everything is pretty accurate historically except from the map, and it has to do with the gameplay. It has to be more what is the word? More adaptable, more free than a very strict map of Europe or the Mediterranean. Actually, the players get random into the map. They can choose between 4 clans, let's say, of that time, and they cooperate. It's not. You can choose to be a Roman, for example, but you can work with the Persians as well. It's not all about the clan you choose. The clan you choose has to do more with the way you want to play, more aggressively, slower, more build up. You know, these are all details of the game I don't want to go into and bore everyone.
But when you choose to play as a Roman or as a Persian, I guess that gives you a character, certain abilities, certain advantages, and certain disadvantages, right?
Exactly, yes.
So I can see I can see the grid mapping, the Persians, the Romans, the civilizations playing. I can see a lot of civilization influence in the game.
Yes.
I can see also some Age of Empires, right?
Of course. It's what I told you. The game platform is there. We are not giving birth to something really new, rather than expanding the way we think it should go, regarding also with the type of this game. The type of this game is online. It's free. It's the kind of games we call them freemium, which means that it's free. You can play it online, but you can also spend money on it to gain advantages. From your adversaries.
To accelerate. Your performance,
Because it is as all strategy games, it's all about time and distance. So by paying some money, you actually decrease time. So it gives you a great boost against the person who doesn't use money. We also call them card games, not because they are played with cards, but because the graphics are not moving. Everything is very static, and although that might seems like a disadvantage, for me, it's an advantage. From this type of games have the advantage that you actually grow the story in your mind. So it becomes very yours, very unique for the player, I mean. And I say that from experience.
I agree with you. I mean, you like cinematics and things moving, but at the same time, first, it makes the game very heavy, and it will limit your ability to go mobile sometimes. But it also restricts your imagination. It's amazing how when you discuss a game and your experience with the game, your perception of how you did is different than the perception of others that were playing with you.
Of course.
How that will be reflected in Econ?
I don't really know. We'll see. I cannot predict that.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, we have put very interesting aspects. We have drawn things from relatively not relevant games and incorporated everything. We had totally new ideas. I don't know. We will do the beta now, and we'll see how the players will react. This is a thing that is constantly changing. Even when we launch the game, I think in 2 years' time it will be different, because the feedback you get from the players will make it even better.
Yeah, and another thing, I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty about the future of the game, which is part of being it's part of being a creative entrepreneur. And on that, there comes the question, how taking this risk, you think it's telling you about, you know, your other creative ventures?
Well, I don't know. It's for me. It sounded like fun, really.
Yeah.
I have designed other games for myself. I even exhibit once a platform table game in one of my exhibitions. All of them strategy games. And as soon as we realized that we can really do it, we just go ahead and done it. I mean, all you actually need is a lot of your time, a sum of money, and the will to do it, because the environment, especially here, is not friendly for such a business. We had to, and we are still really inventing the way we are going to progress. And but it's nothing. There is nothing stopping you. As for the risk, even if you open, I don't know, a restaurant, you still risk. I mean, maybe less, but you still have a risk. And this thing, the gaming industry, is so huge that if this thing expands, it will give you much more benefits than doing a more safe business.
Okay, but I get the thrill, I get the motivation of trying something new, to enjoy the process, but you're an entrepreneur anyway, and you are not fool. So you must know something about how this market is developing, so you can make a venture with some degree of certainty, right?
Let's see some boring stuff. I will come back here. These are all graphics and scales. Okay, I will just go a bit fast on them. This is very interesting because it shows you, it's an estimation done in 2012, and it shows you up into 2016 how the let's say the creative market will move, and you can easily see that it's the gaming is just growing and growing, and on top of that is you can see that the online gaming is gaining the ground over the console gaming, which was superior, and it still is. But I think the more and more we develop things like that, more and more we gain. And I think the most important thing about this is that it's teamwork. You play with other people that are in China, I don't know. And that makes it very interesting and very not predictable, you know?
So you are combining here the opportunities of the market also with the opportunities of learning about others and to reach out to other cultures through the game.
Well, ideally, yes.
Ideally.
I don't really know. I don't really know how this thing will function, but I've seen it work. I've seen it work. And as you said, this type of games, because they need a historical backdrop, they do involve heritage. They do involve different cultures. So maybe it's a bit naive to say, but I will say it, that there is a small part of educational process going on, maybe at least at the point of intriguing the person, not actually teaching him or giving him no, I don't know how to say it properly, not actually teaching him something about history, but more giving him a trigger, if he's interested, to do so by himself. So, and I think it's, when we first had the discussion to have this conversation here, I didn't really understand why was this relevant, you know? But more I got into it, especially after hearing a lot of people here, I understand that it's very relevant because it's very creative. For us, it's very creative. It's creative because the game is so abstract that it's even creative for the players as well as they progress. We don't really know how they will play because the main platform of the game is abstract. That's why we had to have an abstract map, for example. So it's free for the player to play as he thinks. So And it's relevant in another aspect because, and I think we didn't realize when we started, but we are actually doing something like Orange. We have something like Orange economy effort here. And because we were conservative ourselves and maybe afraid, and because there are not any around, we found it ourselves. I mean, we decided that we will do this through by collaborating with other people. We never thought of going to a bank to have a loan or knocking the door on a fund to give us our money, or even try to take a program, you know, a funding program from the state. We just said, this is worth doing, we'll do it ourselves, and we'll take all the risk, and we'll see what happens, you know.
Okay, we are running out of time, so I want to make you a final question.
Okay.
And try to give it very brief, not only because of time, but mostly because if it's brief, it's going to be more useful. What would be your advice to other entrepreneurs out there who are thinking, should I try or should I not try? I mean, what would be your piece of advice that will probably make their lives a little less difficult?
I don't know if I can do that, but okay, this is why I made this quite ridiculous t-shirt. It's the hell with circumstances, let's create opportunities. I mean, like, just do it, you know?
That's
just
great.
Just try, and all you need is your time.
Okay.
We have plenty of that, as long as we are alive.
Yeah, but in real life, you can't buy time like in the game.
Yes, yes. I just want to add one thing that, which is important, I want to say, because I think it's very important, and also to speak about my colleagues, but mostly because I understand the importance through what I heard here, is that you cannot do this without a very nice team. And me and Dimitris, we were very lucky with the people we got involved. It was pure luck, I think, and instinct, because our development team is great. You ask for one, they give you three. And now that we have started with our marketing team, it seems that it's happening the same. So we are lucky on that, and you cannot do this without having a great team. You must, one must try to focus into creating a team. It's maybe more important than having the money to do it.
Okay, well, congratulations. All the best on your venture and this venture and other ventures in the future. And thank you very much, Vasilis.
Okay, thank you as well. And this is the name of the game, huh? I haven't said.
Coming soon.